Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming. We are here today to announce the fruits of an intensive year-long investigation that we hope and believe will improve the quality of life for thousands of people who live, work, and patronize the businesses in the hub area. With me today are New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, Assistant Chief Levon Holly of the Detective Bureau, and Inspector Miguel Iglesias of Citywide Narcotics, and my team, the Special Investigations Bureau, starting with Assistant District Attorneys Bridget Killen and Alexa Sinku, Supervisor Alessandra Ambrosi, Deputy Chiefs Ron Sanacandro and Allison Rizel, Bureau Chief Craig Cicchini, as well as Denise Kojo, Deputy Chief of the Investigations Division. Also from my Technical Investigations Bureau, Chief Peter Kennedy, Digital Forensics Lab Director Selena Lay, and Digital Forensic Examiners Julie Moy and John Belinsky. Bronx District Attorney Detective, Bronx DA Squad, Detective Danny Agan, and Bronx DA Detective Investigators Greg Maloney and Jahara Jahava. We have indicted 5 organizations with a total of 32 defendants for selling fentanyl in the hub area. 4 leaders have been charged as major drug traffickers. In all, 30 pounds of fentanyl, 12 pounds of crystal meth, 5 firearms, $100,000 in cash, and 1 kilo of cocaine were recovered during this investigation. Residents, shoppers, businesses, passerbys had to endure flagrant drug dealing at all hours of the day, and where at least 5 people overdosed from deadly narcotics during this time. The residents should not have to live with such diminished quality of life, and we believe there will be a considerable difference now in the hub, which has been saddled with demoralizing nicknames because of these operations. I want to acknowledge Pedro Suarez, the Executive Director of the 3rd Avenue Business Improvement District, or the BID, as well as other community groups who have been advocating for the neighborhood for years, and Congressman Richie Torres and Borough President Vanessa Gibson and other elected officials for their constant attention to the matter. The defendants and their suppliers are heard on wiretaps speaking about their brands, Brugada, TikTok, Prada, Bad Bunny, as being too strong and causing people to fall down. They just don't care about life, but we do. We wanted to stop the flow of fentanyl, heroin, and other narcotics to stop the overdoses. We wanted to keep children from seeing such devastation as they walk to school. We set out to do more than just sweep up minor players again and again for just a temporary solution. We pursued the higher-ups and the suppliers because, yes, we care about life. In fact, 2 months ago, one of the detectives overheard on the wiretap, heard one of the defendants, Anthony Cruz is one of the leaders. One of his street workers called him to tell him, oh, one just fell down. And Cruz replies, but is he okay? And the man said, yeah, I took him to the corner because he was here on the floor. And Cruz was like, well, is he all right? Did he walk? No, the man said, I had to help him move him there, but he's still on the floor. Cruz, all right then, just go home, and I'll see you there later. And the detective who intercepted that conversation called the 40th precinct, and they sent an officer over to administer Narcan, and that man was revived. The investigation is continuing into the connection between these organizations and the products, and the products that they sell, and the overdoses that we're seeing in the hub. So again, we care about life. This is a demonstration of how much we care about life. And I want to thank my team, and I want to thank the amazing investigators of NYPD who did all the work on this case. Because again, they're the ones that help saving lives. Thank you. Police Commissioner now, we'll hear from you.
Thank you, DA, and good afternoon. Before we begin, I want to say a few words about the Knicks championship run. Over the past several weeks, and especially this weekend, millions of New Yorkers came together to celebrate the Knicks championships. They did so at bars and restaurants and homes and watch parties across all 5 boroughs. For the overwhelming majority of people, those celebrations were exactly what they should have been: joyful, energetic, and a reflection of what this moment means to our city. A relatively small, but nonetheless unacceptable number of people use those celebrations as an excuse to engage in violence, create disorder, and put others, including our cops, at risk. Over the weekend, there were 7 shootings connected to Knicks-related celebrations across the city, along with assaults, vandalism, fires, and stabbings. Men and women of the NYPD worked through those unprecedented conditions all weekend long. They did so bravely. 10 of our officers sustained injuries associated with policing Game 5 events. On Saturday, many cops worked more than 12-hour days. Many came in on days off, and many came right back in the next morning to ensure the safety of the Puerto Rican Day Parade and multiple FIFA fan events across the city. And many of our cops are Knicks fans themselves who spent this historic championship run in uniform instead of watching the games. Their work helped ensure that this championship run was defined by the millions who celebrated the right way. The men and women of the New York City Police Department deserve this city's thanks for those efforts, and we are grateful for the outpouring of support and appreciation for their work. But we are not done yet. On Thursday, millions of people are expected to attend the championship parade. We will have a significant NYPD presence there, and we will share additional details about that in the coming days. But we are here today with the Bronx DA to send a clear and, frankly, a long overdue message to the people of the South Bronx. This is a new day in the hub. Last week, 36 individuals were arrested and now face charges ranging from major narcotics trafficking, conspiracy, criminal sale of controlled substance, and more. Another 4 from the initial indictment are still being sought, and we anticipate that they will be in custody soon. This long-term case began in February of 2025 as a direct response to community concerns about conditions in the hub. Drugs were being sold and abused openly. People were injecting themselves and overdosing in front of children, steps away from an elementary school, and all in broad daylight. Foot traffic throughout the business district went down and commercial vacancy rates went up. And for too long, people were afraid to come to this major commercial center in the Bronx. Local residents and business owners, they sounded the alarm, and the NYPD, along with the Bronx District Attorney's Office, answered it. We identified 5 major drug trafficking organizations as part of this case that were responsible for supplying and distributing narcotics in the hub, as well as across the city and throughout 4 different states. And they avoided violence to evade detection because the highest priority for these drug dealers was to stay in operation. But now, thanks to the NYPD and our partners at the DA's office, they are out of business. Over the course of this investigation, NYPD detectives seized approximately 15 kilograms of fentanyl, which is the equivalent of 150,000 glassine envelopes, as well as about 1 kilogram of cocaine and 12 pounds of crystal meth. We also seized 5 firearms, including 1 ghost gun and 1 defaced revolver, and more than $100,000 in cash, jewelry, electronics, and a vehicle as proceeds of this drug operation. Between them, the indicted subjects in this case have long criminal histories, with around 550 total arrests on charges including murder, robbery, burglary, assault, firearms possession, and various drug charges. The message of this case is clear. We will not tolerate the illicit narcotics trade in the hub or in any part of New York City. And this is just part of the remarkable public safety work our officers are doing in the borough of the Bronx, which is leading the entire city this year in crime reduction. In this borough, major crime is down 11% through the first 5 months of the year, and it's down 14% in the newly created patrol borough Bronx South, which includes the area targeted in today's case. Shooting incidents and victims are down in the Bronx through the end of May, while gun arrests have increased by 25%. Murders are down 9%, with a nearly 33% decrease in Bronx South. In April, there were 4 murders in the entire borough, the fewest in recorded history. And at the end of the month, I stood here with D.A. Clark and announced the takedown of a major Bronx-based auto crime crew responsible for stealing more than $1 million in auto parts. Since those arrests on April 30th, when you compare May to the previous month, tire and rim thefts in the Bronx were down an incredible 72%, and through the end of May, auto theft in the Bronx is down 27%, the largest drop of any city borough. This is precision policing at its very best, and it is the result of our data-driven strategy focused on the places driving violence in the city, putting officers on foot posts where they are needed most and during the hours they are needed most, going after illegal guns, and building cases against the gangs and crews responsible for driving violence in our communities. And make no mistake, dismantling narcotics trafficking operations like the ones in this case is part of that strategy too, because these are not victimless crimes, not even close. And let me be perfectly clear, this operation targeted the drug traffickers, the dealers who don't care who gets hurt as long as they get paid. These are dangerous criminals who prey on the most vulnerable among us, who have an appalling disregard for human life and who choose profit over people every single time. So, through a combination of physical and video surveillance, controlled buys, coordination with precinct patrol officers, and ongoing input from the community, we took them down. I want to thank the investigators of the Bronx Narcotics Major Case Squad, as well as the prosecutors at the Bronx DA's office for their dedicated work to dismantle and shut down these criminal organizations. And I especially want to commend our undercover officers. They do one of the most difficult and dangerous jobs in policing, and they do it with no public recognition and no second chances. The nature of their work means that they will never get the credit that they deserve, but every New Yorker owes them and all the NYPD cops who bravely put the safety of others above their own a debt of gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we'll take some questions on topic, please. Well, we still have our eyes on them. So we're looking every day at what is happening since this takedown. Another approach to this, too, is now you have to put the resources in to make sure that they don't get a chance to set up again. So the hub has been closed. Now we've done this takedown, which has taken a lot of people out. They're going to be a little hesitant to move right in at first. But we need to deal with the fact that there's still going to be the demand for the drugs. So we need to deal with those people who are suffering from that addiction, that substance use disorder, to make sure that we get them the help that they need, to provide them with those opportunities to get help, to work with the community, the businesses, the bids, and everybody else, to look at the resources we need now to replace those people who have started selling those drugs.
Do you mind if I add
Sure.
to that? This is going to follow a similar playbook to what happened recently in Washington Square Park, where we worked with the prosecutors at the Southern District of New York to take down drug traffickers that were doing business in Washington Square Park. And then what followed was an enhanced NYPD presence to make sure that that park wasn't re-infiltrated. And so you're going to see the same type of approach at the hub. This was step one. We were waiting to take down this case, and now you will see the enhanced NYPD presence to try to ensure that it doesn't take root again.
Some of them are, yes.
Or have any been reported to you as status there?
Well, there's a deportation order for one of them. One was previously deported, so the federal authorities will be dealing with that.
Can you speak to the openness of what was going on here, how brazen it was, and how much of an open secret it was for people, civilians, that this was happening?
Yeah, no, it was brazen. It was clear to everybody. That's why the bid and every community organization and everybody who knows it's been like that for a long time. This is not something that just started. This has been systemic, and because there wasn't enough attention paid to it, it deteriorated to this. We are stepping in now to say no more, no more. So that's why the law enforcement piece is very important about it, and the other pieces as well, the social services and every other thing that needs to help this community build up, helping the businesses, bringing people back to the area. Look, I grew up in this county my whole life. I shopped on 3rd Avenue. That's where you got everything, your Easter clothes, your back to school, everything. It's a vibrant community, business community that deserves to be safe. And with this takedown, we're on our way to bringing that back to where it was. Marla?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So in this particular area, I mean, obviously this is a multifactorial issue. You have healing, you have users, you have the methadone clinics. What are some of the community-based initiatives, if you can, if anyone can speak to them, to talk about the other part of this problem, you know, the rehab centers in the area, and then also you have a number of businesses who left, but that, you know, you can't really flourish without clientele, you know, so to speak. So do we know anything about dealing with the rehab centers in that area, so it's not like a whack-a-mole, so it doesn't pop up in another part of the box?
No, we're looking at it. Everything is a process, right? So we have to continue to engage community. Like, we can't solve this problem without hearing from the people that are actually going to do the work. So there's going to be open dialogue now with those who remain and what they need in order to exist so that they could be vibrant and flourish. So, you know, there's going to be a strategy there. There's a short-term, mid-term, and long-term in every single initiative that we do, and that's the approach that we're taking here in the hub. Anyone else?
You are going to see an enhanced police presence for a while in the hub, again, like what you saw in Washington Square Park, to ensure that the drug dealing doesn't take root there again.
What is the status of the individuals who were arrested? Do you know if they were detained, they were held on bail, or if some of them have already been released?
I actually have that here. We have 2 that are currently pending arraignment. 3 were remanded. 11 were charged with bail-eligible crimes and had bail set. 20 were not charged with bail-eligible crimes and were therefore released.
You have to speak up, okay?
I can. Yeah, I mean, the crime declines that we have seen generally in the borough of the Bronx, particularly in the South Bronx, as I mentioned, have really been historic across the borough so far this year. Major crime is down 11%. That's across the 7 major crime categories that we track. Of course, there are always going to be problem areas, problem precincts, and that's why we use the CompStat process, and we do deployments of officers based on where we're seeing crime go up.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Two are pending arraignment.
in the hospital. Two of them in the hospital.
Yeah, in the
Right, so we have to wait for that.
Thank you. Not doing off topic.